Hey everybody, what's going on? This is a very long overdue speculation video. I was planning on doing a speculation video soon, and this is just the perfect time to do it because of course a lot of the community is currently anxiously waiting for the next pack that should be right around the corner. So in this video we'll be speculating about what could possibly be the next pack and talking a bit about what we should expect from it. Before I begin though, it is worth mentioning how this time around, unlike the last couple packs, we really have no major tidbits to go off of. You know, the last couple packs we've either had minor leaks or major leaks that have either given us an idea of what to expect or have full on spoiled what we're going to get. And I'm not going to lie, it feels kind of nice not really knowing for sure what to get this time. I mean, we have a really good idea and we're about to talk about that in a moment, but still, it's kind of nice having no tidbits. Either way though, what is that massive idea? Well, let's get into it. So what about a North America pack? Well, of course, that is the next big theme that people think we're going to be getting next, is North America, and it just makes sense, purely out of the principle of order, having seen them do South America, then Australia, then Asia, and then eventually Africa. The next big continent would be North America. For those people who do argue against that and say, well, there's a possibility of something like a European pack, or, you know, even an Antarctic pack I've seen be argued. Those continents, I'm afraid to say, are just going to be left out. There's nothing really there to go off of, but North America, there's a lot to go off of, and people want to see it, so it will be done, and I do reckon, like a lot of people, that that is going to be the next pack. And so for the rest of this video, let's just assume that North America is the next DLC, and it's just around the corner. But then from there is a big question that stems. What kind of pack will it be? Now that Frontier have done an animal pack in the past, it is not impossible for them to do, say, a North American animal pack, or will they just do a regular pack like the Africa pack? Well, honestly, I would argue that both make a lot of sense, and there's a really good chance Frontier could do either. Personally, I do want to see a regular pack, simply just because of architecture and how, I would say that North America needs a proper architecture set even more than both Africa and Asia need combined. We really have nothing in North America to give us proper buildings, unlike a lot of the other continents, and I think it's about time we finally get that. But at the exact same time, I will say I would like to see an animal pack as well. I feel a little mixed about the Southeast Asia animal pack, not because it's an animal pack, but just because Frontier made a few hiccups with some of the animals, but I reckon you that if they did do another animal pack, they would do a whole lot better. And that's really just because now that they've done it once, I'm sure they'll know how to do it better and fit it into their schedule better and probably have less hiccups. So I would be down for an animal pack, but honestly, I'm just going to go ahead and avoid that for this video. Let's just safely assume that they are doing a regular pack like the Africa pack, and we're going to get some proper North American architecture. So now that we can agree that North America is most likely the next pack, let's just go ahead and move on and start talking about what we could expect from that, starting with, of course, the animals. So talking about the animals, we're going to go through them in order of what I would consider the most likely or most definite animals to the least likely, or what I consider the probably not going to happen animals. Now just know all this is in the assumption that we're going to be getting a regular pack, but let's just say we do end up getting an animal pack. Well, some of those probably not animals become very likely. I guess we'll have to find out and see, but for now, we're going to keep assuming this is a regular pack as we begin talking about the animals. So let's go ahead and start with the most definitely going to happen animals. For me, there's two in particular that I consider definitely going to happen, and I would say first off would be the moose. Moose are easily one of the most requested and expected animals right now, and I'd be pretty surprised if we did not get moose in the game by the end of this month. I'm really expecting them and really hoping for them. I mean, come on, it's moose. Moose are incredible animals. They are a force to be reckoned with, and what I really find incredible is that the fact that they're just deer. They're actually just a big deer, and most deer would just be afraid of humans, but this is a species of deer that will put fear in humans, and it's just amazing like that. I really can't wait to see if Frontier actually do them or not. The other really most likely going to happen animal would be, of course, American alligator. These two, moose and alligator, are just, I think, are going to happen no matter what. No matter what kind of pack they do, these two are just bound to happen. And I'm just really excited for them, honestly. Like American alligator, I live in Florida. I see alligators regularly. I've eaten alligator. It would be really cool to see them in game, and I do hope that they do something to make them special. They could. For example, with the dingoes, I thought dingoes were just going to be another regular basic canine, but they ended up doing something special with it. They could do the same with the alligators. They could make it more special compared to the other crocodilians. It doesn't have to be just a copy and paste. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So next up would be the very likely animals, except there's only one here. For me, very likely would be California sea lion. This is one that people have talked a lot about. It is definitely on the radar for this pack. Some people are really expecting it, other people probably not. For me, I think it's very, very likely, except the fact that Frontier, they have a history of picking surprising alternatives or simply just not doing the obvious, and for all we know, Frontier could have done, say, walruses, for example, instead of sea lions, or just no sea lions at all. I'm just saying that they could possibly get away without doing California sea lions, and I just can't put it as a definite, considering there are other options, but I do think it's a very likely choice, and I would bet money on it being within those first two. I think these first three animals, moose, alligator, and California sea lions, are all going to happen in a regular pack, and then that leaves us wondering what will be that fourth habitat animal. Well, that is what I consider the maybe category to be. For me, the maybes are torn between two different groups. Well, first off, cougars. Now, some people will argue that cougars are far more likely to happen, but simply just because of the other groups of animals we'll take a look at in a moment, cougars may not happen for sure. I know some people say they will, other people won't. I would say it's kind of a mixture. I mean, cougars would make sense, but they could definitely get away with not doing them. So what would be the other animals in this maybe category? Well, fighting for the fourth spot against a cougar would be a tie between three animals. River otters, sea otters, and beavers. I think one of those three have a really good chance of making it in, but they have to beat the cougar to get that fourth spot. And this pack could almost become a near aquatic pack sequel if they do, alligators, California sea lions, and possibly another river otter or another otter or beaver. Of those three, I want beavers the most, but I honestly expect them the least, and I would hope for sea otters. They would be really cool, and they'd go great along with California sea lions, but I think the most likely would be North American river otters, because it'd basically be the it would be the African penguin of this pack, where it's just another one of that group. It's the African penguin to the giant otter. So I guess we'll have to wait and see, but I would say that those three are tied up against cougars for the fourth habitat animal in my pack prediction. And we'll talk about tank animals after, but I do want to go ahead and mention the probably not going to happen animals. Now, these animals, I'm just assuming are going to be left out because this is going to be a regular pack, but for all we know, it may be an animal pack, and if it is, I would say creatures like black bears, mountain goats or sheep, wolverines, prairie dogs, and even things like collared peccaries all could make it in a regular animal pack. I would definitely hope for Rocky Mountain goats. I really want Rocky Mountain goats, actually, but I just think we're not going to get them because I don't think this will be an animal pack, but I guess we'll have to find out, as I keep saying. Let me know what you guys think, though. There's plenty of other really popular options they could do for North America besides all these habitat animals I've already mentioned. They could do another kind of fox. There's other cats they could do, like bobcats or lynxes. They could even do pine martens. There's a lot of cool things they could do. They can even do, like, rabbits, for example. They could do swans. They could do cranes. They could do turkeys. They could do coyotes. There's a lot of other options, but those are just the ones that I think are on the radar, for me at least. And then we even have tank animals to talk about. For me, I would just like to say that if they do a tank animal, which they will, I hope they will do a kind of salamander. There's a lot of really cool salamanders in North America. For me, my personal favorite are hellbenders. Those are some amazing salamanders, the biggest in North America, and not enough people know about them. I really would love to see them. If not, hellbenders and axolotls would be cool, or even tiger salamanders. There's more options, but those are just some of the ones I'd like to see. I guess we'll just have to find out, as I keep saying. This whole pack is I guess we'll have to find out situation. But either way, though, I think we've talked enough about the animals. Let's just talk briefly about what kind of scenery we could expect. So briefly talking about things like architecture and scenery pieces, well, wood. Lots and lots of wood. I'm expecting mostly new wooden and also possibly stone architecture. We could see things like new wooden carvings and decorations of very typical North American animals. As I mentioned, stone. They could possibly even do things like colonial architecture, possibly even Native American architecture as well, like things like totems and possibly even teepees. If they consider that okay. And then if not that, well, or along with that, they could even do a more modern architecture like America as it currently is. I was just picturing more stereotypical North American architecture, kind of like what they do with the Australia pack, where they just took a very stereotypical look at it. Australia, it's stereotyped with like corrugated roofs and rusty buildings, and that's kind of what they gave us in that pack, along with very outgoing architecture. Very outgoing scenery pieces like the Mecharoo. Things like that is kind of what I'm picturing in this next pack. So I'm picturing giant wooden carvings of like grizzly bears. I'm picturing hopefully color customizable totems and new wooden and stone wall pieces to use. That's the kind of stuff I picture, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. They could also do something very different, but I think that's generally what they'll go for. But I really have nothing else to say about architecture. I don't usually get too much into this. I just wanted to briefly mention it. And we'll move on now to the conclusion. Alright, so that was my new DLC speculation video. Let me know what you guys thought about it in the comments down below. Was there any animals I didn't mention that you thought should have been mentioned? Do you even agree with me that it is a North America pack? And as far as whether or not it really is, of course, it really seems most likely that it is, but for all we know, Frontier could surprise us with something we just did not see coming. People have been talking about an aviary pack, although I do think that is on the way. I just think it'll be saved after the North America pack. That's kind of the general assumption in the community right now, but it will be interesting to see. What I'm really wondering, though, is whether or not this pack will be a regular pack or an animal pack. Again, as I mentioned before, both make sense, and I do think it would be great as both of them. But I am leaning more towards a regular pack. I guess we'll just have to find out as the weeks go on. As far as a release date goes, my best guess is September 28th, the final Tuesday in September. If not that, then October 5th, the first Tuesday in October. And just in case you didn't know, they always launch things on Tuesdays. And as far as announcements go, they usually do it a week before, so on Tuesdays, or if not, Thursdays is the other day they like to announce things, just to give you guys an idea of when to look forward to information. Other than that though, guys, I want to go ahead and say thank you all so much for watching this video. Again, I plan to upload more soon as we start getting more info, and as soon as I start building more. But yeah, for the final time, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.